Hello everyone, welcome back to this YouTube channel. In today's video, we'll be discussing about version control systems. We'll use the analogy of Instagram app to understand version control systems. Imagine you have developed the version 1.0 of Instagram and that is live now. You love that. We all love the Instagram app. But then you decide to add a new feature. Say something like search who viewed my story. So you work on the code and release version 1.2, right? So later, you add another cool feature like downloading the display picture of an Instagram account, and that becomes version 1.3. Now, here's a twist. What happens if you make a huge error in version 1.3 that completely breaks the app? Instead of spending days trying to fix it from scratch, wouldn't it be great if you could simply go back to a stable version of the code control system concept? So, the version control system is a tool. Every time you add a feature or a tweak to the code, you commit your changes. Think of commit as taking a snapshot of your code in the exact moment. It comes with a message explaining what you did along with the timestamp. These things are completely recorded by version control system. So, this means if you ever mess things up later, you can roll back to the previous snapshot. Good. When you commit the version control system, it creates extra files that store metadata, snapshots, and hashes. So metadata is the information like commit message, author, and timestamp. Whereas snapshots, it's like complete images of your code at various points of time. And hashes. Hashes are unique identifiers, often using algorithms like SHA-256 that help track changes and ensure integrity. Now, picture this. Imagine Instagram isn't built by just one person. Of course, it is not built by one person. It's a massive team of developers. So they manage contributions from everyone. But it gets complicated, right? How do you ensure that all these changes from multiple developers don't end up clashing with each other? This is where version control system really shines. So there are mainly two types of version control systems that are centralized version control system and distributed version control system. In centralized version control system, imagine all of Instagram's code is stored in one central location where every developer checks out the code, makes changes, and then pushes those updates back to the one repository. Something like this. There are developers like system A, B that update the server repository. But this comes with few disadvantages as well. The three main disadvantages are single point of failure. If the central server goes down or gets corrupted, you risk losing the entire code base. The second one is limited offline capabilities. Developers must be connected to the network to access the full history. The third issue is conflict management. See, with everyone pushing changes to the same place, merge conflicts can become a headache. To avoid these issues, we can use something called as DVCS, Distributed Version Control System. So now, let's reimagine the scenario. Instead of single central server, every developer has a full copy of the entire Instagram code base on their own machine. So they make commits locally, and when ready, they push their changes to a shared remote repository. This is what we call it distributed version control system. And the most famous DVCS right now is Git. As the image states, there is a server repository and the copies are also stored locally. Therefore, we have a lot of advantages with this DVCS. The three main advantages are complete history locally. So every developer has the entire project history. so they can work offline and still have access to all previous versions. The second one being better branching and merging. Developers can create branches for new features or experiments without affecting the main code base. When a feature is stable, they merge it back in. Resilience, the most important one. Since multiple copies exist, the risk of losing the entire project is generally reduced. Hmm. So now, what is Git? So, as I mentioned earlier, Git is the most popular distributed version control system. It allows developers to track every change, create branches, and merge code efficiently. So with Git, every commit is like a checkpoint in a video. You can always go back if something goes wrong. Now, what is GitHub? Most people get confused between Git and GitHub. So Git is the tool, something like Mail, but GitHub is something like a platform, like Gmail. GitHub can be accessed by multiple people and developers can collaborate easily. So GitHub is a cloud-based platform built around Git. So it is a place where developers can host their repositories. As I mentioned earlier, repositories are databases of code where various kinds of data like files, code, everything can be stored. See, it does not just host your repositories, it adds a whole suite of collaboration tools. Open source projects. See, what open source projects are? These are collaborative initiatives where the code is public. Most of the BTech engineering projects are just copied, or let's call it forked from GitHub open source repositories. See, and there are various benefits with these as well. Like you can create your own version of an open source project. Like my favorite open source project is VS Code. And people have built AI tools around VS Code like Cursor, TryAI, etc. You can build your own versions of large-scale projects as well. You can contribute to them as well. And GitHub also hosts Hacktober. Hacktoberfest is an event that is conducted in October by GitHub. And there are a lot of events that are conducted by GitHub as well. Community engagement. See, a lot of open source developers contribute to various open source projects. And various senior developers can help you solve issues with it as well. In education benefits, we have few benefits like student developer packs, where you get a lot of discounts on various tools. Next up, GitHub offers various collaboration tools like pull requests. Pull request is a way for developers to propose changes, review code, and discuss improvements before merging. And there are other tools like code review, issues and project boards, GitHub Actions, code spaces, and a lot of security features. And GitHub also has its own mobile application so that you can manage your projects on the go, ensuring you're always connected. So now, wrapping it up, so let's recap the entire thing. Version control system. It helps you create snapshots of your code, letting it revert to previous stable versions if something goes wrong. Centralized versus distributed version control system. See, while a centralized system stores code in one place, which can be risky, a distributed system like Git provides every developer with a full copy, making collaboration smoother and more secure. Next up, Git and GitHub. So Git is a powerful engine behind DVCS, and GitHub is a collaborative platform that leverages Git to offer a rich, feature-packed environment to software development. I hope it helps you understand how version control system has evolved and everything around it. So thank you so much for staying till the end. Like, share, subscribe, and thanks for watching again. Bye bye.